March 27th. March 27th. Happy birthday, Christy. Sunday, had a dream. There was more to the dream, but the last scene is what stands out the most. Confused me a little. I was in a bedroom with my ex and my friend, ex-friend. And my ex and I were standing in front of each other. And there was this knowing that we were different. And almost like we were waiting to embrace one another. And we did. And the embrace was even like intimate. It was intimate. And there was a familiarity with how we were holding each other. And like there was this knowing, like, I've done this before with you. I've done this before with you. Feeling. And then there's 2 beds. And my ex-friend is here. I call her ex-friend because I don't know if we're going to talk. I haven't reached out. Really, this whole process, like, I don't really reach out to her. Never really did. It was more her reaching out to me. So I doubt that she'll reach out. So she's sitting on the other bed, watching us. And my ex and I kind of land on the bed. Like, we're comfortable enough where we can land on the bed in front of her. And we're playing, like, we're just being playful and silly. And she's jealous. There's a different energy that I'm getting from her, and it's this heaviness. There's this, she's jealous, and she's is it bitter? That was the word that came to mind, but I don't know if that was the actual feeling. But definitely jealous, and when I would make a mistake, she would try to like make it more pronounced, like more like trying to make me feel bad for the mistake, but it didn't bother me. Like I knew that was her intention, but for me, I brushed it off. I was like, like it didn't matter to me. Like, that's just how she was responding to us. That was so weird. That's what I dreamt, or at least the last scene that I remember, because I know there was a lot more. So I don't know what that's all about. But it's Sunday. So that happened in my dream. It's 11. It's a little after 11, 11:30. And we were supposed to, so I don't know if I shared. He offered to pick me up. This person who was on my path. Literally, I was thinking about it. I'm like, he was literally on my path home. He was on my path home. And initially he said 1. And now it's 3, which I was kind of grateful for, because I was just like, I have work I need to do. And I was a little worried about, well, thinking if we leave at 1 and, brings me home early, then I can stay up and work on it. But then he sent me a text like, hey, good morning. Could I pick you up later than 1, around 3 maybe, or something like that? I'm like, sure. And I was like thinking, okay, that gives me more time to do my work. So I don't have to worry about it, because I'm assuming then, I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know if it's just gonna be, and I'm not worried about it anymore. I think my anxiety just got the best of me, but I'm not worried about it anymore. I'm just like, however it'll unfold. My job is just to listen. That's what I was telling myself yesterday. Like, we just listen, observe, and see. That's my job. I'm assessing, right? I'm assessing this potential energy that I see, that I saw within him. And I'm just going to observe and listen. And then I realized, I don't know if I shared this, that if I choose to, people who cross my path, that there's 3 possible purposes, potential purposes of this interaction with whomever it may be. 1, I will learn something from this interaction. If I choose to, right? It's all about perception. If I choose to, I will learn something. 2, I will teach something. There's the potential that I can teach something to this person in this connection. And 3, the connection can change me or transform me or create an expansion within me, outside of me, potentially. So I thought about that, and then I realized, sin querer queriendo, he already fulfilled 2 of those. He really did, without even realizing it. He did. And you know, like I mentioned, right? Like, before I even met him, his mural was what stood out in my mind, and it created this flow of poems that came out. I mean, I've completed over 20 poems, and I have over 20 poems, most likely, I have to count, that are still in progress. And I have yet to really, like, sit down and have, like, a long conversation with this person. So, and it goes to show, right? It goes to show as to how we impact each other, how we influence one another by our sheer presence, our sheer existence. Like, had he not existed, that mural would not have been created in the moment that it did, for my path to cross his, right? And without even, you know, I mean, the only exchange of words in that moment was, "That's beautiful," and he said, "Thank you." And that mural was just, it wasn't even complete, but his existence created an impact within me. And art does that, right? It has the potential to do that. Because I'm around art all the time, but it has the potential to create an expansion within people, right? I mean, that a lot of the artists, that's what the artist wants to do to a certain degree, is convey an expansion of within themselves, right? Whether it was this process of healing for some, right? It comes out in their work. I was just recently introduced to Guernica, and I was floored. I'd never seen this piece of work, and it was I told my client who introduced me to it, breathtakingly painful to see. And my client used this to describe herself and her trauma and the oppression that she's experienced. I mean, it literally, like, I couldn't breathe. I literally couldn't breathe when I first saw it. And Pablo Picasso isn't even here anymore. Yet, his expansion remains. And it still has the potential for impact. Isn't that wonderful? So, this person, stranger really, who's known, but who I don't know, really, created an expansion within me. Okay, cross that one off the list. I learned something from him. Without even realizing it, I learned something from him. Very much into the Zionism. I looked it up. And part of that, like I dove into his world a little bit from what I read and what he promotes, and I learned a little bit about what's going on in that world, and it was always in the background, right, with news and stuff, but like I mentioned before, I had kept a distance between me and the outside world to a certain degree. When it first removed the news from my life, it was because I was just trying to breathe in that moment of my life with the chaos around me, and I had a hard time accepting my reality, and it just felt like I was drowning all the time. I couldn't accept that this was my reality. And then the depression hit. I had to take time off work. And then I knew, and my dentist is like, Yubi, you're grinding your teeth in there, you need to stop. So I cut out the stuff that I can't control, right? Which is everything outside of me, just to try to breathe in the moment. And then realizing that when I started taking these courses, politics, sexual violence, and preventing sexual violence at the city college, I realized, okay, I'm getting prepared to learn a little bit more about the outside world and what's going on. And then his information led me, right, curious, like, well, let me learn a little bit more about that. And I read up on it, saw some videos on it. I was like, okay, I see. So I learned something from him. Will it end there? I don't know. Just depends on whether or not it goes beyond today. But I realized that's 2 out of the 3 already. Already 2 out of the 3. With the little bit of interaction that we've had. Triggered within me, right? To be curious. So the last one is that I will teach him something. I will teach him something. So even if it doesn't go beyond today, I will let him know that I have a gift for him. And that gift will be the gift of my story. And what he chooses to do with it will be his choice. So regardless if it goes beyond today or not, all 3 would have been fulfilled to a certain degree. He asked if he can pick me up later. I was in the middle of doing my spread for the week. And it triggered a memory. He was late. He was late when we first met. I think it was like 30 minutes maybe. I don't remember. He was sorry. He was running late. And I remember sitting outside the entrance where we're gonna have dinner. And it happened to be a place that I'd already been to, but it was changed. It was something kiddie. They played like good music, swing music. I went there twice before it transformed, and I liked it. I remember I really liked with it that roast beef the dip, French dip sandwich. That's yummy. I remember that. I mean, I didn't have that with him. That was before. that's weird. I remember that conversation. It was interesting. But anyways, that's what got triggered. With him asking if he can pick me up at 3 instead of 1. got a little nervous when he asked me if he can pick me up. Offered, really. So initially I put, where do you want to meet? He said, I have a car, I can pick you up. And I sat with that for a little bit. Mom, am I gonna fight it if he's offering? And I said, I'm just gonna allow it. I'm gonna allow it, this stranger, to pick me up. Then I thought, I'm like, do I ask him to pick me up at the corner? Do I give him my actual address? I'm gonna just give him the address. And yesterday my vertigo hit again. And I was like really upset. I was like, I don't want to be clumsy. I'm already clumsy as it is. But this is like, you know, when I'm combobulating, it makes me be more clumsy because I'm like, I can't stand still. I can't, you know. But I woke up better. So I was like, okay, thank you. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm just gonna listen, observe, and just be me, really. And my job is to observe and listen and see. Will they listen? Will they see? Will they change? And if not, I move on. I move on. How's all? I got work to do. Okay. Bye. Hi. My name is Yubi, and in case you haven't figured it out, this footage is capturing my experience as I learn to navigate my personal spiritual awakening. I am learning that this experience is unique to each one of us, in whatever way we believe we are embracing living our truth. This just happens to be my journey. And despite me having a graduate degree and a license in clinical social work, this by no means is intended to replace any type of mental health advice. This is just me on a personal level, documenting my experience, shedding light on the truth that I am learning and discovering for myself, and really inviting you along for the ride. If by some magical chance you find this content to be helpful in any way, shape, or form, please click the like button, share the message, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have an Instagram account, a personal one, and one specifically for this channel that you're more than welcome to check out. I'm an open book. I have also created t-shirt designs. I'm wearing my favorite one right now, which is the North Node design, but I have that and other things that you can look at inspired by this process and journey, and I have the link in the description box as well as in the about section of my YouTube channel. So you're more than welcome to check those items out. Any type of support is great. Again, if you find this content really helpful or meaningful, sometimes when we take that step and be vulnerable, with showing what's inside our hearts and what's really our truth, we realize that we're much more connected than what we thought we were. And so I hope that as I'm living this experience and that you find some type of truth for yourself, or find some type of ability to heal in some way just by relating, just by knowing that you're not alone. That really has been my goal with this process, not just being able to connect with others, but really for my own healing. It's definitely been a therapeutic experience and a very creative one for myself. So I thank you, and I wish you all the best, and we'll see what else comes next for me.